That's not what I meant to press. Why aren't you showing up? There you are. Okay. Control C. New post. Control V. You can spell. Okay. Alright, link is sent out. Just have to send this to someone who asked for it. Okay. We are all good to go. I have chat pulled up. Looks like we have excellent connection. Very good. Okay. So, hello everyone. This is the Switch version of Risk of Rain 2. I had been debating streaming this last night when I streamed earlier. But I ended up getting hungry, so I didn't do it. Hello. I'm so glad you could join. So, originally I played this game on the PS5, and I really, really like the PS5 version. It runs fantastically. But, there's a slight issue with it. Specifically, I have health issues. And as some of you might recall, there was a long-ass PlayStation outage recently, which meant I couldn't use my PS Portal. So I decided to get this on sale for like $1.50 because I had a shitload of gold coins. And it was on sale for I think $6. So I was able to get it for like $1 and change. I also went ahead and got the DLC, but I got the DLC from a friend, so it's a little different. And the Switch version has one thing that I really, really, really love over the PS5 version, and that's motion controls. The motion aiming makes such a huge difference in this game. The problem with the Switch version is that it's got some frame rate issues. It's got a lot of frame rate issues. I'm playing docked, so probably the first time you'll notice the frame rate issues is when I activate the teleporter. But, it's a little bit more than just having frame rate issues, because the frame rate issues affect attack rate. Like, you will notice it when I'm playing as Commando here, but as the frame rate gets worse, the amount of bullets I fire is going to decrease, even if I have, like, items that are meant to increase attack speed. It isn't, like, game-breaking, though I have heard people say that this game is basically unplayable on the hardest difficulty Monsoon on Switch because of it. But as y'all know, I don't play on Monsoon. I exclusively play on Drizzle because I am bad at this game. But as you can see, the motion control aim helps a ton. I imagine it looks a little bit worse to watch with it being so jittery, and I do apologize about that. But it helps manage the motion, or not motion controls, the stick drift a lot more. So for example, right now I'm not doing anything, but my character will like slowly start to walk to the left if I press too hard and shit. I'm using my launch day Switch for this as well, not my newer one, the OLED. As I said yesterday, I am trying to transition this from being the Switch that I was letting my boyfriend borrow to being my streaming Switch. That way it's still being used. I love Gups. They are so adorable. They are probably my favorite enemy in this game. But I'm also I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for slime enemies in, like, all games. I think they're adorable. Like, I love Dragon Quest slimes. I even love the, like, torn off dickhead Mara slimes in P5. I think they're funny. Let's see, I have 150. There's normally about 5 items on the first stage. But I already found the Halshin Shrine over there, so that's an additional 3. My goal for this run, if I can manage it, is I really want to unlock Chef. So, as people who watched my first stream might know, I really, really struggled to unlock the False Sun, who is the DLC boss you can unlock as a character. That took me a long-ass time on the PS5 version to unlock. I unlocked him on my literally first run doing green portals on the Switch version. Like, I got super lucky and everything just worked out, and I had a, Halshinite, the Gilded Coast thing, spawn, like, on the second stage in the, I think it's the Forgotten Temple is the name of the first green portal stage, but I was able to get a Halshinite immediately, and then immediately just go into the False Sun fight and unlock him. So that was, like, not a pain in the ass at all for me for once. But, unlocking... Or no, not Chef. Rex, the little plant fucker. Unlocking Rex has been a super pain in the ass, because every single fucking time I get the thing to the 4th stage, it hasn't been the stage I need, and then by the time I loop back, the performance has decreased so bad that I die and explode. It's been really annoying. So I'm gonna try and do that today. Motion control enjoyer. It varies game to game for me as well. Like, for example, I am not a I'm using tilt controls player in Mario Kart, but I don't play mouse and keyboard shooters very often. And in fact, the main reason I don't play shooters a lot of the time is I don't like the controls. I feel like I'm fighting the controls in order to aim a lot on consoles. And I'm just not familiar enough with mouse and keyboard controls to play on PC very often. Not to mention, I haven't had a gaming PC for a very long time. I only got mine in 2024. So, for me, motion controls in games like this, and Splatoon, and Zelda for, like, the bow aiming are really nice, but I wouldn't play every game with motion controls. And it also depends on how prevalent the motion controls are, because, like, for example, in this game, depending on the character you play, the motion controls will only be active while you're not sprinting, like what's happening with, Commando here, where when I'm running, I have to use the stick aim, but then as soon as I'm not, I can use the motion controls, which is really good for this character because he shoots really fast, and you don't have to really worry about ammo. Whereas, for example, Huntress will always stay in motion control, which can get really fucking annoying even while you're sprinting, because her whole gimmick is that you can attack while you're sprinting. But that means, like, this is happening the entire time you're running around trying to, like, look at shit. That's a little annoying. But for Commando, it's not too big deal. I also like it for characters that have, sprint triggers. So, like, not every character has this, but some, when you press their utility skill, will automatically begin sprinting after they exit it. So, for example, Commando here, running and then sprinting after the roll. That's really nice, because then I can just roll and not have to worry about clicking in the stick and stuff like that. So I can basically use the roll as a trigger for when I want motion controls to stop. Whereas, for example, the Captain, the character who I had been playing as last night before I went to bed, his utility skill doesn't do that. So if I ever want to not be using motion controls, I have to actually click in the stick, which kind of irritates me because I don't like clicking in the stick in video games very much. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's probably all of the items I'm going to find on this map other than this utility chest here. I can think of one or two more locations I haven't checked. I don't think I've checked up there, and I don't think I've checked in the cave yet. The Vegas. What does this do again? Oh, it's this useless thing. Okay. Right, this item sucks. Okay. Oh, there's actually 2 chests in here. Nice. That's a good haul. Alright. Now, the problem is I only have 25 gold and I have to go activate the Halcyon Shrine. But I don't want to activate the Halcyon Shrine after I activate the portal, because that could stop enemies from spawning. But what I think I could do is fill up the Halcyon Shrine like halfway, and then go activate the teleporter, which will spawn a bunch of enemies in the boss. And that should be enough gold to push it over. I don't want to risk opening this. Sometimes the item sucks. I've got the coins for it. Why not? What is it? Visions of Heresy. If I remember correctly, that changes my default attack into one of the heretics. So with that, if you find the 4 of Heresy items, it will turn you into the hidden character who is the heretic. Yesterday I was trying to unlock the hidden character for Risk of Rain Returns. I haven't done that yet. I ended up playing this before bed. I debated doing that, but I don't really want to stream Risk of Rain Returns again after I said I was going to stream this next. So I'm streaming this next, and I'll either do that later today on my own, or I might do it as a separate stream later tonight. I'm not sure yet. It'll depend on how my knee is feeling. How have you been doing for the last few days? Well, the reason why we haven't talked a whole lot is because I just haven't been home. I've been over at my best friend's for a few days. But I'm doing okay. My knee still hurts, but I'm able to actually sit at my desk again. I'm feeling a little bit better. As you can tell, my cough from COVID has gone away for the most part. It still comes up every now and then if I talk for really long periods of time, but it's a lot better than it was a few months ago for sure. Other than that, just frustrated with the government and current state of America. But that's kind of why I'm streaming, is I want to take my mind off of how shit everything has very rapidly become. And it's one of the few things that I actually have control over, so that's what I'm doing. We might actually be able to fill up the Halcyon Shrine. Yeah, we'll be fine. Looks like we didn't have to pause it. Why is my laptop making so much noise? You're not even on turbo. I'll click the back of fan on, so hopefully that will make it stop running so hot. So this is the Halcyonite. It's like a mini boss that you can spawn from that turret. When you kill it, depending on how long you let the shrine charge, you will be able to get items from it. The maximum for letting it fully charge up is 3 items. Stop fucking whacking me. I'm trying to get my gold back. The annoying thing is, when he whacks you, he can knock your gold off, as in those gold chunks. But you can also knock gold off of him and other gilded enemies, which is nice. But the gold will despawn. So this is what I was after. Receive blessings. So now I can choose up to 3 of any of these items. So I'm going to choose the star, which lets me get 2 items the next time I open a chest. The horns, which are amazing, and the bullets, which will do more damage to bosses. The horns make it so that as I'm running around, the little blue sprites will spawn in front of me, and the more of those that I pick up, the faster my run speed gets. Like, overall, it's really crazy. This item is amazing. But it does also kind of put a limit on how many runs you can do before you start moving so fast that if you nudge a wall, you'll be sent into lower orbit. Oh, hey, Kevy-chan. I'm sorry to hear you've been busy with work, Michael. Hopefully things get a little bit better for you. Kevy-chan, this is the game I was telling you about. Michael, the other person in chat, is Kevy-chan. He's one of my best friends. He is also my mod. I'd been telling you about this game, Kevy-chan. I think it's still on sale if you're interested. The performance is kind of shit. This is the Switch version, though. I also have it on PS4, PS5. It might be on sale there as well, but it doesn't have the motion controls. But this game is incredibly addicting to play. I've streamed it like 5 times now. I really, really recommend it. But as you can see, the Switch version has some frame rate crust. The PS5 version is a lot better in that department, but the motion controls are really handy. I got so used to playing with them. The main reason I got this version, though, is because of the PSN outage. I couldn't use my Switch, or not Switch, my PlayStation Switch. What the fuck is that thing called again? The Portal. I couldn't use my PlayStation Portal, so I got this on Switch because it was on sale for like $6 and I had a shitload of gold coins, so I got it for like $1.50. What is that emote you sent, Kevy-chan? I can't tell what that is. Now, there's another equipment chest up there I just noticed. So, let me see if I can remember how to use this item correctly before I get rid of it for whatever's in that chest. So, you can't actually use this thing offensively. What you do is you, like... God damn it. Okay, I don't understand how this thing works, because sometimes it'll, like, drop it all the way over there, and then you can use it to, like, quick travel. But every time I try to use it intentionally and not part of the random weapons thing, it will send me somewhere else. So do I want healing, or do I want the Molotov? The Molotov is good for damage. It causes burn. Oh, and there's a... Right here. Right here. Alright. So now, before I go along to the next stage, I have to pick up the battery. Wait, shit. I don't even get to use this item, because I have to use the battery. God damn it. I hate unlocking Rex so much. Oh, this dude's such a pain in the ass. Right now I'm trying to unlock a secret character, which you have to take the battery from your escape pod to do. Wait, you have a portal? It's a smiley face with... It's embarrassing. Ah, okay. You didn't know the PSN thing went down? Yeah, it was down for like 24 hours. Well, if you get it, let me know. It's multiplayer, Kevy-chan. Up to 4 people can play it. And I have the DLC, and as long as one person in the room has DLC, all the players have access to it. So, like, you would be able to use the DLC stuff because I own it if we played multiplayer. And yes, I do have a PS Portal. My ex-boyfriend bought it for me. I don't know if you had heard about that, but yeah, me and my boyfriend broke up. But before we broke up, I had gotten it because of my knee and health issues, so I could have access to my PS5 in bed. Okay, so this is a void cell. These things are normally great, because these items, the, like, purple orb chests, are fucking amazing. Basically, all of them have, like, DLC corrupted. Oh yeah, it's multiplayer up to 4 players. On all platforms, too. I don't know if it's cross-platform, but, like, if you have it on PC, you can play with up to 4 other PC players. If you have it on PS5, you can play with up to 4 other PS5 players. PS5 and PS4 might be cross-platform, like, you can play with each version, I'm not sure. I have it on PS5 and also PS4, because you get both versions. And I have it on Switch, and I have the DLC for both of them as well. The PS4 version definitely runs a lot better. The PS5 version has, like, the shortest load time out of all of them, which is really nice, because the Switch version takes, like, 5 minutes to load up the opening cutscene. I wish I was kidding. Okay, it's not 5 minutes, it's probably, like, 1 minute and 30 seconds, but it takes a noticeably long time. But I'm trying not to be too harsh on this game because, or on this version, because it is actually becoming my default way of playing it. Playing it in bed and not having to worry about, like, input lag from connection dropping is really nice. The motion controls, the motion controls are really hard to go back to not having. Like, I tried playing the PS5 version, I was like, what the fuck is this auto-aim? Why does my camera keep, like, jerking over to everyone I'm looking at? Where is the smoothness? Trophy Hunter's Tricorn is a wacky item, so what that thing does is if you fire it at a boss monster and you kill the boss monster with it, it will automatically drop whatever unique item that boss monster can carry, but it'll consume the weapon. So you're like trading this for a specific boss item. For example, the eye item that spawns the 2 floating orbs around you, I can't remember what it's called right now, you can get that guaranteed by getting the kill shot on the soloist, or whatever the fuck it's called, boss. Solaris? I'm gonna say Solaris because it's a Xenogears reference. The Solaris boss. Also, Xenogears' anniversary, and if I had a way to stream it, I absolutely fucking would. Unfortunately, I only own Xenogears on my PS Vita, and you can't stream from a PS Vita. Otherwise, I would absolutely have streamed Xenogears for this. But, y'all should play Xenogears if you haven't. It's fucking amazing. Not very easy to access, same with Xenosaga, which is why I don't take the Xeno elitist standpoint of you need to play them before you play Blade, because, well, that's kind of impossible for most people. But I do absolutely stand by that you should play at least Xenogears, but probably also definitely Xenosaga, before you play Xenoblade 3. Like, the entire premise of Xenoblade 3 is a Xenogears reference. Like, down to the basic premise of it being 2 nations locked in an endless war, one whose name starts with a K and the other starts with an A, is literally, that are all, well, I won't say that last part because that's a big spoiler, but even down to, like, the basic premise, Xenoblade 3 is a Xenogears reference. And obviously, for anyone who's played Future Redeemed, you know that Xenosaga is kind of important to know what's going on, too. But Xenosaga, at least, is probably going to get a port at some point. Unless, like, Xenoblade X does the thing I'm pretty sure Xenoblade XDE is going to do. But again, that's kind of a big spoiler. Well, is it really a spoiler if XDE hasn't come out yet? See, part of me is conflicted because I don't know if Xenoblade XDE is going to end up being, like, just the X that was intended to release on Wii U, because all of the new content, other than the stuff with Lao, has been stuff from the art book, like Neil Nell and all that. So, it could just be the completed X, which I would still be totally fine with. But it's also the first Xeno game after Future Redeemed ended the trilogy, and the way Future Redeemed ended the trilogy was like, hey, everything is canon. So, like, there's going to be some Xenosaga in XDE. I don't care what Luxon says. There might be, like, I don't even know what they could do. Actually, no, there is something really easy that they could do. They could make Vector Industries one of the arms manufacturers. That would be one of the easiest things they could do to connect X to the rest of the trilogy. Just have it be like the radio. Or maybe not even an arms industry. Like, they could literally just have Vector Industries be one of the, like, background sit buildings or something, having be a warehouse. Or add, like, new dialogue from someone. That'd be neat. I suppose they could go, like, real crazy with it and put Dmitry Yuriev on, the White Whale or something. But I don't think they would do that because, well, it's kind of important to Xenosaga that there are no aliens anywhere. And it's kind of important to Xenoblade X that there are aliens everywhere. Which is, the big conflict of canon between the two of them that Takahashi is going to have to find a way to retcon. But, at least to me, the easiest way to answer that is that it was probably, like, Wilhelm doing shit, because the premise of Xenosaga is Wilhelm doing shit and it ending really badly for everybody involved. But they've already begun to, like, retcon Xenosaga lore anyway with Future Redeemed. Like, even Dmitry Yuriev, his backstory literally does not work with Future Redeemed. It doesn't. And yet, it does because Takahashi said so, so... Like, it could already be that the designer children and the immigrant fleet were part of, like, Project Exodus or something. But this is a lot of, like, deep lore discussion for a video game series that nobody can play because, like, they're stuck on the PS2 and emulate fucking horribly. Like, I've tried to emulate Xenosaga before, and it just doesn't work. Oh. Wow, I'm a dumbass. Okay, you know how I was talking about how you shouldn't do that? That's why you shouldn't do that. Solaris makes you think of Sonic 06. You should absolutely get Xenoblade Chronicles XDE, Kevi-chan, because it's also multiplayer. We could play Xenoblade multiplayer, Kevi-chan. So I should play Gears and Saga before Xenoblade 3. Yes, you should. So, the thing with Xenoblade 3 is Takahashi tried to, before it came out, he was like, no, you don't need to play Xenoblade 1 or 2 before Act 3 comes out. A new fan can enjoy it for what it is. And to be fair, that is absolutely the case. Xenoblade 3, as a standalone story, has an amazing story. Its themes are on point. It is fantastic. But Xenoblade 3's main story isn't the full story of Xenoblade 3. A lot of the, like, questions that people have about the story, even unconnected to 1 and 2, are answered in... I do know you're very into the Atelier games. Speaking of, the new one with the girl with the rifle looks really interesting. You'll have to tell me about that later. But a lot of, like, even the basic story elements of Xenoblade 3 aren't resolved in Xenoblade 3. They're resolved in the DLC. Or they're implied to be relevant to future Xenoblade games in the art book. Which, again, is why I think X is going to have future redeemed content. And I think the fact that they're keeping the Ouroboros cores on the fucking Ares skull that Hero pilots is a big fucking deal. I'll get into that in a little bit, because it's actually a really interesting story how that happened, that a lot of people don't know about. But the problem with playing Xenoblade 3 like that is Future Redeemed is the finale of all of Xeno up until that point. They only talk about how it's the finale to 1 and 2, but there is absolutely Gears and Saga references as well. With a base build. Oh, it's open world. I didn't know it was open world. You still need to beat Xenoblade 2 first. Yeah. I was actually debating streaming Xenoblade 1, starting my stream of that. I am going to finish my stream of Xenoblade 3. The problem with me streaming Xenoblade 3 that I realized after I started streaming it is a lot of the game is side content. But a lot of the game is side content that is mandatory to do for the main story. And there's a lot of, like, just running around open fields and battling, which is what I like about the game. But I'm worried that it's not very interesting to watch. Which is why I try to make up for, like, the just mindless running around smacking enemies, which I guess, to be fair, is what I'm doing right now. But, I'm worried that Xenoblade 3 is not, like, super interesting to watch for people who aren't obsessed with the series. Anyway, the scale thing. So, Xenoblade X, famously, as it released on Wii U, is only 30% of what Takahashi wanted that game to be. And the Xenoblade X, I think it's called The Secret Files of Mira, or The Mira Secret Files, is an art book that released in Japan that had a section titled Redacted, and oh yeah, the class system is really annoying in Xenoblade 3. I like it in theory, but the fact that they tied class EXP to only be gained from enemies within 5 levels of you made it such a pain in the ass to actually level them. Because, like, you would think you're fine, and then you would either become too over-leveled for anything in the story, or for, like, 4 levels, so you'd be like, great, I have to level this class, but the only way I can fucking do that is by, like, going to areas that I shouldn't be in yet. It got really annoying, especially in the late game. The DLC at least made unlocking them easier, because you can use the Land of Challenge to just, like, mass unlock characters. So that's at least a little less annoying. But the actually leveling them sucked. Anyway, the redacted segment. Sorry, I keep getting distracted reading chat. The redacted segment included everything that Takahashi... Well, not everything, but a lot of things that Takahashi planned to be in X, but were cut because of the story rewrites and cutting down, trying to cram the multiplayer in there, and, you know, just the pressure to release a game on Wii U. I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but there weren't a lot of those. And there was long periods of time in between releases as well, so Nintendo was a little desperate about that. But some of the stuff in the redacted segment was like, there were supposed to be other cities, like there was a new Tokyo you were supposed to be able to visit. There was a character named Reina Sakuraba, who's probably the girl in the, like, weird mask from the new trailer. There was another Clurian named Neilnell who's shown up in the trailer, and I'm really fucking excited about that. Let's see what else was there. There were a couple of new skells. One of them was the Hresvelger, the one that's named after Edelgard, except not really, because it's a mythology reference, but it's funny, so another 3 years of Fire Emblem discourse. And the big deal about the Hresvelger and the Hero Skell is they have Ouroboros cores on them, even in the art book, but what the cores are is blacked out. They're part of the quote-unquote redacted information. So they're labeled as cores, and they're labeled as being antimatter cores, and they're labeled as being able to do something, but the actual proper name of them was blacked out, so we don't know what it is. They later then reused that concept for Xenoblade 3, along with a lot of other concepts, like I don't know the best way to describe this, but the way Ionios is built is taken from a concept in Xenoblade X's Secret Files artwork. The way it's like a patchwork of, like, different locales and shit is literally taken from the art book. But the reason why that's cool is we don't know what those redacted cores actually are because they're redacted, and then Xenoblade 3 happened, and then Future Redeemed happened and ended the franchise, and now Xenoblade XDE is happening, and those skells that are now brought back properly into the game still have those cores, which means there is a very, very obvious and, like, clear way for Takahashi to connect the lore here in a way that people can't argue about, and that makes me really excited, because now we know that the redacted cores are Ouroboros cores. But yeah, I definitely recommend reading through the art book Secret Files. The problem with doing it is I don't know if people should do it before XDE comes out. Because, like, it might just be spoilers for XDE at this point. But yeah, there's a lot of weird, like, stories like that about XDE, or about regular X because of the way its development went. So I'm glad that even if it isn't the full scope, like, I don't think XDE is going to be 100% of Takahashi's vision, because it is just a definitive edition and not, like, a remake or a sequel. So they're probably gonna save, like, New Los Angeles for X2 whenever that happens. And I imagine the shit with, like, maybe the Rose Garden is going to be the, like, new final dungeon, like how, Prison Island came back in Future Redeemed, but I'm not sure. I still don't even know where, like, the new area takes place in. The one that Elma has her new dialogue in. That's, like, the only thing in the entire, like, trailer that isn't from the redacted segment. So whatever they're doing there is totally new, which is, again, why I think they're probably going to try and connect Xenosaga to it. Because, like, if there's any game in the franchise that would make sense to connect Xenosaga to, it's Xenoblade X. I know a lot of people don't think that because of the aliens, and that's a fair point, but also, Xenoblade X is the closest thematically and, like, aesthetically to Xenosaga, and now that Xenoblade 3 has established that Vector Industries and, you know, all of that is a thing during the Klaus era, there is a really easy way to bridge the Klaus era to Xenoblade X that people have already been doing for years, that, like, would then literally just open the gate for a whole bunch of Xenosaga references and stuff, and that could be a way to build hype for Xenosaga remasters. I don't know, I feel like people like Luxon and Enel have been too focused on the fact that as it is, Xenosaga contradicts X, whereas, to me, I feel like they're not going to just keep Xenosaga exactly the same, especially since it isn't accessible. Xenoblade is, like, Nintendo's star child right now. The series has been doing extremely well for them. And it's like their only main RPG franchise, like, period, other than Pokemon. And Pokemon doesn't really count as an RPG, if you ask me. And even then, like, a lot more people enjoyed Xenoblade 3 than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And I don't mean that in a sales perspective, because obviously Scarlet and Violet oversold them, but I just mean in, like, cultural zeitgeist reputation. Xenoblade 3 was nominated for a Game of the Year award. Sure, lost it to God of War Ragnarok, which I think is bullshit, but, like, Xenoblade 3 has a good reputation. And I think that if they're connecting Xenosaga to it, yeah, like, Xenoblade XD is getting a lot of new content. Yeah, Xenoblade, I cried during every Xenoblade game. Yeah, no, I've cried during every Xenoblade game. I was trying to remember if Hacine X has made me cry, but yes, there is one side quest that made me cry in Xenoblade X, and I will not deny that. But yeah, like, to me, Xenosaga getting into Xenoblade is a lot more likely than Xenoblade turning into Xenosaga 4, if that makes sense. And I think the easiest way that they could do that is to use Xenoblade XDE as the actual bridge. Like, Future Redeemed introduced the concept. They said, okay, everyone is here, basically. But now it's time to actually, like, show it. Like, okay, you said it, but what does it matter? What is the implication of him saying it? And I think the implication of him saying it is that the new content in Xenoblade XDE is going to connect to Xenosaga. And I think a lot of people are in denial about that, because they want Xenosaga to remain as it is, but Takahashi isn't the kind of person to leave anything as it is. Look at Xenoblade 1 DE and Xenoblade X DE. He could have just left everything as it was, but even in 1 DE, he still changed something pretty fundamental to the core story in order to make it connect to a later game. That's exactly what I'm saying he would do again for Xenoblade X with Xenosaga. The only problem is, I think it would take a lot more than just changing Alvis's necklace to actually retcon that. Which, again, is why I think it's probably going to be a Wilhelm-related handwave. Or maybe whatever happens in XDE and X2 is the reason there aren't any aliens in the time of Xenosaga. Because, bear in mind, Xenosaga and Xenoblade X don't take place at the same time relative to each other. Xenosaga doesn't even take place relative to Xenoblade. Like, a lot of people don't functionally understand the concept of how many eons have passed in Xenoblade 1 and 2 relative to everybody else. And then Xenoblade 3 might just be called The Endless now, but it actually wasn't. We saw that in the ending. So, like, multiple eternities have passed in between the events of Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 3. And multiple eternities have passed in between Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade X. Assuming everything happened from point zero of the Klaus instant, which is what I go off of. Xenosaga does not. Xenosaga takes place in, like, Transcend Christ, I think, 60-something. I can't remember the year off the top of my head. And the Transcend Christ, I think, didn't happen until, like, after Earth was destroyed anyway and became Lost Jerusalem. So, like, Xenosaga takes place multiple thousands of years before Xenoblade 1. And Xenoblade X takes place even further before that. So there is a very long stretch of time between when Xenoblade X takes place and Xenosaga will take place for something to have happened to all of the aliens. Especially given, like, the sheer amount of influence over the universe that Wilhelm has. But, you know, even just the fact that there aren't aliens around could literally just be Wilhelm doing a Wilhelm. Like, that's the thing about Wilhelm. He's kind of got his hands in every piece of the pie of Xenosaga. He's like Zanza and Z, but on steroids. In fact, a lot of people don't like Z because he is just an inferior version of Wilhelm. And, I don't know, wiping out entire groups of people was kind of Z's, like, default thing he did. But again, this is, like, offhand lore tangents, and I haven't replayed Xenosaga in a while. There probably are more contradictions. In fact, I will guarantee there are, because, again, even Dmitry Yuriev, the dude they brought into canon, has his backstory contradicted, like, fundamentally. Like, there is no room for Klaus and the Klaus experiment in the designer children's backstory. The best you could do is maybe that being the reason he has his weird, like, Udu powers, is because of fallout from the Klaus experiment. But that still doesn't really make sense for him, especially because it's implied the designer children were there after Earth's destruction, but the Saviorite rebels are the designer children, so that doesn't make sense. So, yeah, there's a lot of, like, contradictory things, even just with Dmitry Yuriev, that they're going to have to iron out a little bit. You should absolutely finish Future Connected. Future Connected is the prequel to Future Redeemed. That's why they have basically the same title. It's an epilogue to Xenoblade 1, sets the very, very basic groundwork for Xenoblade 3, and is the prequel to Future Redeemed. Like, there are cutscenes made in-engine that take place shortly after the end of Future Connected that are, like, flashbacks in Future Redeemed. Like, not in Xenoblade 3's engine, in DE's engine. Like, Shulk in the red hoodie and stuff. I will say that out of all of Xenoblade, and probably with the exception of Xenosaga 2, Xeno as a whole, Future Connected is the weakest entry, but I really don't like it when people say that it's not necessary to play. It's only like 6 hours long, it's really short, it's even shorter if you play on the easiest difficulty. Most of the side content is done in the style of 2 and X, which makes it a lot better than 1's default. And it... As a Melia stan, I like that she finally got a happy ending, even if it was immediately outdone by Xenoblade 3 existing. But I like that the sad bird lady was finally able to smile during an ending, okay? Is that so wrong? But it is also pretty fundamental to even, like, there's things that Shulk says in Future Connected that he will call back to in Future Redeemed. Like, he talks in Future Connected about how he's beginning to question himself now that he can't see the future, and that he's starting to wonder if he made the right choice. And then in Future Redeemed, he calls back to that conversation, saying that he misses when he had the ability to see the future. He asks A what's going to happen in a moment of weakness, because he knows that he can't see the future and is questioning himself. And when A rebukes him and says, well, you know, the old you wouldn't have had these doubts, the you from before wouldn't have even asked that. Shulk's answer is, well, yeah, but growing old saps my courage. And it's like a genuine moment of weakness for him. And it's just side dialogue. Like, it's not even important to the story that he's having this conversation with A. It's like camp dialogue. But it's such a nice throwback to Future Connected. And a lot of Future Redeemed is like that. Future Redeemed is a love letter to Xenoblade 1, and it's not just to one's base game. Like, yeah, there's the Gem Man and stuff, but Future Connected is a part of Xenoblade 1, and it is absolutely crucial to experience it. I hate these enemies. Oh, fuck this. This thing here is healing me, or is healing himself by stealing my HP, and if I don't run away from it in time, that's a one-hit kill. I have died to that attack a lot. Oh, there's the frame rate crest I was talking to you about. But honestly, the fact I've just been playing this game without even really paying attention and just rambling is what I like about this game. This game is very streamer-friendly, because you can kind of just like vibe with it, and that's what I really like about this game. Also, I haven't really talked about him, but this is Captain, the character I'm playing as. I really like him. His thing is that he has a chargeable shotgun and can drop like orbital strikes, but he's got a really annoying gameplay gimmick, which is that you can't use the orbital strike in the void because the ship isn't there. Like, it makes sense in universe, but it can be kind of annoying in gameplay, because it means you can't really fight one of the final bosses on fair footing with this character. Makes for an interesting challenge, though. Is Future Redeemed the one that has Hunky Rex? Yes, Future Redeemed is the one that has Dilf Rex. Capitron, what the fuck do you mean you haven't finished Torna? We've talked about the ending! But yes, Future Redeemed is the one that has Dilf, Shulk, and Rex. It also has Alvis in the form of, you know, gender bent. Well, is it still gender bent if A is non-binary? How does that work? But yeah, it's the one with femme-looking Alvis, Dilf Rex, and Dilf Shulk is Future Redeemed. It takes place roughly 25 years after the ending of Future Connected. How have you not finished Torna, Kevi-chan? We've talked about the ending multiple times. Why haven't you finished Torna? Is it the community? Because if it's the community, you're really not going to like Xenoblade X. The community and it returning in Future Redeemed as well, and even to a lesser extent Xenoblade 3, are all mechanics taken from X. Are you sure? I feel like you have instigated conversations with me about the ending of Torna before, and, like, what it meant for Pyra. I swear we've had conversations like this before, but alright. You should finish fucking Torna. It's got one of the best endings in the series. Then again, I think all of the Xeno endings are at least passable to good. Like, the worst one is Xenogears, I would say. Like, Xenosaga 2 ending, I don't care for, but it's fine. Xenogears' ending kind of sucks just because of the nature of Xenogears. finding out that you only played one part of a series that was meant to have 5 other games that just never happened. But oh, right, I remember you talking about selling it. I just thought you had beaten it by then. Alright, fair enough. Xenoblade 1's ending, I adore. Future Connected ending, I adore, but for different reasons, because it's Melia being happy for once. Xenoblade 2's ending, I think, is fantastic. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. Torna's, I think, is probably the strongest, or second strongest in the series. 3's base game ending, at launch, I despised because of how much was left unanswered, but after the context of Future Redeemed, I think it's peak fiction, and I think Future Redeemed is the best ending in the series. Xenoblade X I am not going to talk about here, because I have seen the ending, but the ending is no longer the ending because of the new content. Like, Future Connected is an epilogue. That's not what they're doing with Xenoblade X. Xenoblade X's new content isn't an epilogue. It's just new content they're adding to the story. They are continuing it. So, I'm not going to talk about Xenoblade X's default ending, but it's terrible. But it's terrible because for, 10 years we didn't know what the fuck was going to happen about it because nobody played a Wii U game. But now that the story actually is going to have an ending, I feel like that criticism of Xenoblade X isn't going to be applicable. Especially given the track record for the past couple endings. Because, 2, Torna, 3, and Future Redeemed, well, at least 3 with proper context, have all been peak, so I'm not worried that XDE's ending is going to be bad, but base game X on Wii U's ending is pretty terrible. It does the really annoying thing of introducing a bunch of, plot twists at literally the last second to build suspense for a sequel, except the sequel never happened. And instead we got, base game story for, Xenoblade 2 and, Xenoblade 1 stuff. So for a long time it just felt like X was being ignored outside of gameplay. Which is why I do jump at the bit whenever there's even, a small Xenoblade X reference, I lost my shit when I saw that Uni had a Xenoblade X art in the Xenoblade 3 combat trailer. And Xenoblade 3 as a whole does a lot to connect to X. Future Connected, part of its whole deal is that it explains how Telethia the Endbringer showed up in X. So, X does get referenced, it's just a lot of people don't want to acknowledge them because they want X and the main series to be kept separate. Either because they haven't played X, or because they like Xenosaga more and they think that the contradictions would be easier to just handwave X out of existence. But, again, I don't think Nintendo is going to decanonize a game in a franchise they own to canonize a game in a franchise that they don't. I don't think Nintendo would let Takahashi do that. I think if Saga is being canonized, and it is, it's being added on, not replacing anything. Unless, Bandai Namco, sells Xenosaga to Takahashi, but I don't think they're going to do that. Especially not when, before their issue was that the series wasn't profitable, and now the issue is that it's too profitable. Either way, it's a bad business decision for Bandai Namco, so I don't think they would do it, even if it's what fans want. I've been enjoying the stream, but I'm feeling nauseous, so I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm sorry. Have a good night. Replaying Tears of the Kingdom, because I love Wild Link. Okay, so my issue with Wild Link, as you call him, is that he doesn't have the fucking Gerudo outfit from Breath of the Wild 1. That was literally my main outfit for him in Breath of the Wild 1. And I think the new, hair down style would look so good with, Wild Link, but yeah, it made me sad. I have grown to like Tears of the Kingdom more than I did before. I've replayed it a couple times. At launch, I wasn't really a fan of it. At launch, it felt like it should have been DLC. But I appreciate it a little bit more now that I've replayed it a couple times and tried to go back and replay Breath of the Wild. Like, there's a lot of things that I didn't necessarily immediately recognize. Like, the graphics are different. Like, Tears of the Kingdom does actually look better than Breath of the Wild. It's got better lighting, and, like, the grass looks better. It also usually has a better frame rate, but not always. But then again, I'm used to, like, Breath of the Wild from launch, where, like, Korok Forest had a chance to crash your game and shit because of how bad the frame rate was. But, yeah. I like Tears of the Kingdom. The fucking air bike, I got so used to using it that when I went to try and ride a bike, ride a horse in Breath of the Wild, I was like, why the fuck is this so slow? Why is it taking me like 2 hours to cross this field? And then I realized that I was used to riding the fucking air bike. I think I have found every chest on this map. I have been running around in circles for a minute. I haven't found any more. So I think I have found everything so far. So I'm going to go to the teleporter. Also, I'm only just now realizing that I forgot to pick up the fucking battery that I need for the character unlock. Which is what I've been trying to do for this. Oh, I'm never fucking unlocking this character. Which, honestly, like, I wouldn't be too upset about, because I don't like playing as Rex. I think he's really, like, he fights the player a lot. He's one that's meant to be played in multiplayer. There are a couple of characters like that, and he's definitely one of them. But it still just irritates me having an open spot on the fucking menu like that. Whip, that's good. Sorry, just trying to focus for a second. Okay, I think that's most of them. They used the graphics they used on the Switch ports and Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 has the same engine as Tears of the Kingdom? That's wacky. I wish I liked Splatoon 3. I rented it, and I really, really tried to get into it, but the fan base was just so fucking toxic. Like, I think I won maybe 2 matches out of the entirety of the, like, 40 or something I tried to do in Splatoon 3. Even just, like, the casual mode. Like, I wasn't even trying to play ranked. I was just trying to do the fucking, like, turf war shit. But there were so many people doing, like, meta strats and shit that I just genuinely couldn't enjoy the game. I would spawn in, I would lay down, like, maybe a foot of ink, and then I would get killed. It was driving me insane. Splatoon 2 I liked at launch, and I loved the Octo expansion, but then I tried to play it, like, the actual, like, multiplayer game again, and it was the same deal, where, like, people were just super toxic. I remember getting kicked from rooms because I would die too many times. I would get splatted, and then, like, suddenly I would get kicked from the match, and it drove me insane. Or, like, people would start disconnecting, and, like, I remember I was in a group, and on Facebook, and I kept trying to get people to play it with me, and, like, nobody wanted to play with me, because I would lose too many matches. So I was just, like, eventually I just left the group. I don't know if the fan base is still like that, but at least at launch for Xenoblade for Splatoon 3, I remember it being kind of rough. Get back here, you little, like, fungus monster. Ukulele, I love this weapon. Well, I don't have the ukulele, I have the corrupted one. The purple items, like what just happened to that ukulele, that's the DLC. If you're wondering, Kevin-chan, the Void DLC adds like corrupted versions of regular items, but they have like new effects. So like the regular ukulele, the item I just picked up, its regular effect is that it has a 25% chance to trigger a chain lightning effect whenever you hit an enemy. Whereas the one that I'm using, I can't remember what it's called right now, instead changes it so that it has a 25% chance to strike the same enemy you hit with lightning multiple times, which is what those purple flashes are whenever I whack an enemy. So you can basically just, like, super stack damage on a single enemy with the corrupted version. If you find a corrupted version of an item, all future versions of that item are corrupted for the rest of the run. Which can be a little annoying because there's one corrupted item, which is the corrupted teddy bear, which is a little bit less good than the regular one. This is actually the item I'm talking about right here, Tougher Times. Tougher Times, the regular version, has a flat chance to just negate any damage you take, period. Like, it could be fall damage, it could be burn damage, it could be taking actual damage, it could be damage to activate a thing. It has a chance to negate it. And the cool gimmick about this series that I haven't mentioned yet is you can hold an infinite stack of any item, and the stacks will actually stack. So, like, if I have 50 of the teddy bear that has a chance to negate damage, that is 50 times the chance to negate damage, which is as broken as it sounds. You can do some stupidly broken shit in this game. But the corrupted version of the teddy bear instead makes it so you will just always 100% guaranteed block the first damage you would ever take until it recharges. Which is only a couple seconds. It's like less than a minute for it to recharge. But it's only blocking one damage. So, like, if you get shot twice, each time for 10,000 damage, you will still take 10,000 damage. It will just block the first 10 instead of making it so you take 20. Whereas the uncorrupted version has a chance to block both. With the more of them you hold, the higher the chance. So I prefer the regular uncorrupted teddy bear personally. But it's not like the corrupted teddy bear is bad. It's just the uncorrupted one is better for me personally. Yeah, Splatoon is meant to be played competitive not for the casual, and yes, it's still like that. The only game I want to get refunded. What game do you want to get refunded? Sorry, I'm only just looking over at chat. I kind of have to, like, periodically look over and try and figure out what's going on, because if I look away for too long, things spawn and start attacking me. I wish I had more gold. The problem with fighting these little bouncy fuckers with Captain is he attacks pretty slow, and they bounce around a lot. I ran into that problem last night with Risk of Rain Returns as well. Speaking of, Kavuchan, if you're interested in this game conceptually but maybe don't want a shooter, I streamed Risk of Rain Returns, which is a remake of the first game in this series, yesterday. And it's like a 2D Metroidvania platformer type deal, but it's still got the same, like, basic premise of kill enemies, get gold, open chests, go to teleporter. And that might also be on sale as well. There's also just default Risk of Rain, which is the base game. That's also on Switch, the first game, not the remake. But I really don't like the base game for Risk of Rain 1. It's really, really hard. It's extremely punishing. Even on the easy mode. Whereas Risk of Rain Returns has, like, difficulty modifiers you can add. And then, obviously, this game, you can still die, but on Drizzle, it's not, like, super punishing. You can kind of just, like, vibe with it. But even if you die in a run, you still unlock stuff. It's a roguelike, not a... it's a roguelite, not a roguelike. So there is still, like, progression even if you die. And the main goal is mostly just to unlock stuff by completing, like, challenges or unlocking characters. And the more items you unlock, you'll be able to bring to more runs and just collectively be able to do more crazy shit. These are Shrines of Chance. They have a chance to drop an item, but they get more expensive. I usually save them for after I've opened all of the chests. They have a slightly higher activation rate in Risk of Rain 2 than they do in Returns, which I think is funny. But you can still definitely fail multiple times in a row, and I have. I think I have found all of the chests so far. I haven't really been paying attention, but I've also been opening all the ones I run past. I think I have. The other thing that's the gimmick about this game that you might not have noticed is the clock in the upper right corner there. The longer I take in a run, the harder the game will get, even on easier difficulties, which translates to more enemies spawning. Eventually, bosses will start to spawn as, like, regular enemies, more elites will show up, but you also get more gold and stuff, and you can find better items and, like, better rarities more commonly. Splatoon is the game you want to get refunded. Yeah, I didn't keep it. I own Splatoon 2 still, but I haven't played it since Octo expansion came out. I don't even know if you even still can play it online. But yeah, I liked Splatoon conceptually. I just didn't like playing it after, like, the initial launch period for 2. It turned way too, like, sweaty, competitive, like, neckbeardy to me. I don't know. These are Wandering Vagrants. Their instant kill attack is the big bubble thing they just do. It isn't a guaranteed instant kill, but you still don't want to get hit by it if you're too close to them. They can do a lot of damage. But they also don't attack while they're charging it, so you can choose to either run away or try and, like, just kill them from damage. Both work. I don't know if this will actually hit on the way down. It does. Awesome. Very good. Looks like there's something up there. I don't know what that is. Those little claws coming out of the ground, I'll actually just run over to this and show you. They can be used to find chests or, like, drones that you might have missed. Like this here's a drone that I missed, as well as 3D printers and shrines. They come out of the ground when you activate a teleporter event, and they show you where you haven't, things you haven't purchased yet or interacted with. Which is really handy, because there can be a rare chance for invisible chests to spawn, which you will only find if you run into them literally, or from the little claws coming out of the ground to show you where they're at. I got 2 items from this teleporter event because I had activated a Shrine of the Mountain, which was that little, like, stone claw that came out of the ground. That will make a boss fight harder, but you can increase the number of items you get as a reward for completing them. Proceed through the teleporter. And this is a game that is very easy to sink multiple hours into without you trying. Like, I don't feel like I've been playing this game for 45 minutes, but I've been playing it for 45 minutes. Sorry, I was gonna drink water. This is a really fun map, but it's really easy to get lost in. It's like a tiered castle. So I usually like to start at the bottom and work my way up. Oh, nice. We'll be able to do the false sun and get a house knight. There's another house shrine over there. What do you think, Kevichan? Do you want to see the base final boss run, or do you want to see one of the DLC final bosses? I'll let you pick. Because this is the last stage before I go to fight the final boss stage. Or I guess I can technically choose to loop back to the beginning and keep gathering items, but... Well, you could do that too. Because, yeah, you can infinitely loop as many times as you want in this game. Well, I say infinitely loop as many times as you want, but at least the PS5 version, I've had, like, a couple of crashes. Surprisingly, the Switch version hasn't crashed yet, but the frame rate gets really fucking stinky. So I would not be surprised if the Switch version could also crash if you... But I've done, like, up to 3 loops so far on Switch. It's the longest run I've done. Looping back to the beginning will basically let you open the chests again, but they might be in different positions. You might get different stages, and obviously the difficulty that whatever the timer is at will remain, so harder enemies will spawn and stuff. And there are some enemies that can only spawn in looped runs. There are also some items that, as far as I'm aware, you can only find in looped runs and stuff like that. The downside to looping a run in this, as opposed to Risk of Rain Returns, in this, if you loop, you have to go through the full 5 stages again to get back to the final boss. Whereas in Risk of Rain Returns, if you loop, you can go to the final boss on, like, stage 7. Or really, whichever one you want. It gives you the option immediately. There is also the option in this, though, where if you don't want to fight a final boss because you're not, like, content or you don't think you'll be able to manage it, you can choose a final ending that doesn't involve fighting a final boss if you want to, like, keep any character unlocks or whatever you might have found. You do still have to fight a final boss in that one, but it's just another teleporter event. It's not like an actual proper final boss. Oh wait, actually, you know what? There is this shrine here. So actually, I can do any of the 3 final bosses if you want. Base game final boss? Alright. So the base game final boss of this game is named Mithrix, the King of Nothing. He is actually really fucking hard. So he's probably going to kill me. I found all of the items on the base floor. I think I have. So we'll move up to the next level. There might still be something out in the lava fields. Sometimes there's like drones and stuff there, but... Actually, I haven't found a lot of drones this run. That's kind of surprising. There have been runs where I've ended up with like 400 drones. It's kind of crazy. You can literally just have like an army of like murder robots flying around you like a hive of angry hornets. It's great. You can even just play this game like basically AFK, just running around opening chests while your army of drones and turrets kills everything for you. Unfortunately, I can't really show that off this run because I haven't found any, but... I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't been finding any drones. Yeah, I'm not seeing any over here. Alright. Drones can be a little hard to spot, though, but sometimes they don't spawn. Basically, the way I understand the spawning works is you can something will either spawn as a chest, an interactable, or a drone, but there isn't, like, a set number of any of them. I think there's probably a minimum number of, like, there's probably at least, like, 1 or 2 on every map. In fact, I would probably say there's a minimum of, like, 5 chests. But there have been runs where I've, like, never seen Halcyon Shrines, like, at all. Obviously, this run, I'm not seeing a lot of, like, drones and stuff. So there is a degree of randomness to each run, which is, you know, the core essence of a roguelike. These are called parents, the small ones are called children, and there's a really big version called grandparents, if you're wondering what those yellow enemies are. They are like the aliens that are like inhabitants of this planet. They're like, the logbook about them is really weird though, and like kind of creepy. It goes into like the incubation cycle for them, and it's not what you think it is. It doesn't go child, parent, grandchild, or grandparent rather. It's different, and it's a little fucking weird. Actually, you know what? I can pull it up right now. I forgot that Risk of Rain 2 lets me do this. So it's this item. So this item has like logs for you to learn the lore and stuff. And like Grandparent incubates the egg. Child lays the egg. Egg becomes the parent. Parent takes care of the children and the grandparent. But the youngest is the child. The youngest is the parent. The grandparent is younger than the child, but not the youngest. Like, how the fuck does that work? This one is actually my favorite, entry is the mask. I think it's so creepy. Where is it? Ah, here it is. I love this one. This one's so good. I'll let you pause it and read it or whatever, but yeah. Oh, here's drone. These are shrines of combat. They will just spawn enemies. They don't give you anything other than just gold for beating the enemies, which is the main utility of them. You can use them to get money. So if you find one early on in a stage, but you're, like, still running kind of low on funds, you can activate it and just kill them. I usually just activate them anyway when I see them, because there's really no reason not to. I mean, I guess if you're, like, worried that it'll spawn a bunch of grandparents or something, which can't happen, then you maybe might not want to. But for the most part, just activate the Shrines of Combat. It's extra money, and there's no reason not to. Especially if you have some items like the missile launcher. You can literally activate a shrine and then immediately press the missile launcher and just kill all of them, like, immediately. It might as well be a shrine of free money. Alright, so I'm going to activate this Halcyon Shrine now because I have the gold for it. It'll be the same deal. I'll have to fill it up. It'll take the money. It'll spawn a Halcyonite. And then when I kill the Halcyonite, I'll be able to get money from it. But the difference now is because it has this yellow orb orbiting around it, because this is the second one I've activated this run, it will take me to a secret level. Although if I do the secret level, I won't be able to go to the base game final boss. Yeah, I'll just activate the shrine, I'll get the items, and then I'll just go fight Mithrix. I won't do the Gilded Coast. So if I do the Gilded Coast, I'll be forced into doing a loop or going for the False Sun. Well, actually, you know what? I could do both now that I think about it, because False Sun doesn't force you into an ending. You can choose to do an ending. So I think what I'm going to do is, because I don't feel confident in fighting Mithrix with what I have right now, I'm going to go into the False Sun fight. I'm going to fight him, and then I'm going to get the items and stuff for beating him, and go into a loop, and then fight Mithrix. Bye-bye. Here, have some friends. That worked. Huzzah. Alright, I don't remember if I get 3 or 1 the second time. That one's good. Okay, looks like I get 3. That one's good, that one's good, that one's good. Okay, so the Chance Doll, every time I activate a Shrine of Chance and it drops an item, it's now got a chance to be an even better item. So, like, a white item has a chance to be a green item has a chance to be a yellow item, and a yellow item has a chance to be a red item. And it's a 40% chance, and will stack if I find more of those, I believe. Or it might not stack, it might be, like, individual activation triggers. So, like, it might be 2 40% chances. I don't know what the maths is for that. I'm bad at math. But it works something like that, is the way I understand it. Is that an opened chest or an unopened one? Open. Or, no, unopened. Crowbar's really good. The problem with the crowbar is it really depends on how much damage you do for your first attack. Because, like, if you hit them with a good attack, you'll kill them immediately, because the extra damage will just take all of their HP. But, like, Commando's base bullet damage, the, like, main rapid-fire one, is kind of low. So you'll do more damage for the first bullet that hits, but then the effect of Crowbar wears off, so, like, it's not as good for him. But comparatively, if you use it with Commando's L2, which is the, like, pierce through laser shot, that one does a pretty good amount of damage, actually, for the one hit that it is. So it's kind of decent for that attack. It's just, you have to wait for that attack to recharge, and it's kind of situational. But, like, if you stack that with the ammo box that lets you use your L2 multiple times before it needs to recharge, then you can actually do a lot of damage by stacking crowbars with that. There's a lot of really fun, like, item synergies in this game that I really like. I could do the call drones, or do I still want to keep the healing? I haven't used the healing, so I am going to replace it with the call drones. What does this shrine do again? Shrine of Shaping. Right, okay. So that'll give me an extra life. I remember I thought that carried over between runs in a previous stream, and I still ended up losing. So I think that only applies to the current stage, so I'm not going to activate it. Where is the... Oh, it's all the way down there. Okay. Geronimo! See what I mean about the teddy bears? The teddy bears just blocked that fall damage. The teddy bears are great. You can't die from fall damage. Well, I mean, you can, but you can't die from fall damage in one go. It'll be like falling multiple times or taking damage and then falling that kills you. But, like, even without the teddy bear, I could have survived that fall. Which is nice. Okay, now I have a healing thing and a rebuffing thing, which will keep enemies away. You can see, though, that the frame rate's getting pretty scummy during this. It happens a... What is this? Is this a chest that I missed? No, this is another... Or is it the same one? I can't tell. I think it's the same one. Okay. What this thing does is activating this takes you to the secret shop. The secret shop can be used to guarantee what your next stage is going to be. You can also then proceed to a hidden stage, which is called the Void Fields, which is like a challenge type deal where you have to survive 9 waves of enemies. But each wave will gain new enemies and alternating new items, and they'll get a stack of 5 items they can use against you, and it can be any 5 items in the game. Or a stack of 5 items of any item in the game, rather. So, like, I've had runs where they've gotten, like, 5 needles and just button mashed me to death. I've done runs where they've gotten 5 of the exploding attacks item, and that one's really been shitty. So, like, most of my runs end going to the Void Fields and getting unlucky, at least on the PS5 version. But I still like to do it most of the time, just because you get an item for every wave you finish, you survive. In addition, there are chests that you can freely run around and open once you've cleared all the waves, or even if you want to risk taking the damage during the, like, waves themselves. So if you manage to do it, also time won't advance, so the difficulty won't increase while you're in the secret stage, so enemies are only as hard as when you first get there, minus whatever items they pick up. So if you manage to survive the Void Fields, you'll come out of it, like, with, like, between 12 and, like, 20 extra items than you should have at that point in the run, which will make you feel like a walking apocalypse pretty much as soon as you start the next stage. It's a huge power trip. But the downside... Oh, the teleport? No, I'm not trying to go to the teleport. What am I doing? I'm going to the... Okay, that was a brain fart moment. I'm going to the Halcyon Shrine. It's an absolute power trip going through the void fields and coming out the other side as like a fucking Olympian god, but you can also really, really easily like just self-destruct your run there if you get unlucky. It literally is just down to luck in that area. So, in order to get to the False Sun, who is a potential final boss, but I'm not going to be fighting him as the final boss. He is the only final boss that you can choose to continue your run after beating. The other ones you can't. In order to do that, you have to go through all of the green portals. This, what I'm doing right now, technically isn't a part of that. This is something different, but it's part of the same DLC. In order to access a green portal, you have to fully charge a Halcyon Shrine, which is those green emerald pillars that I was charging with money that turn gold. The first one you complete will spawn a green portal. The second one will spawn a gold portal, which is what I'm in right now. The green portal takes you to the Forgotten Temple. The gold portal takes you here, to the Gilded Shrine. In order to unlock the False Sun as a playable character, which is something I've already done, you have to come here and then beat the False Sun with the thing that this thing drops. In order to finish this stage, I have to rebuild the Halcyon Shrines, which are these pillars, which all cost a variable amount of money. When the boss spawns after 4, I believe, but I can't hurt it until I have charged all 7. So, like, no damage, as you can see. It says immune. So I have to activate all of them, and then I'll be able to damage it. 6, and the 7's over here. Beating this thing, what this gives you, this extra boss, is the, Golden Seed, I believe it's called, which you can use to... Oh, yeah, I can't use my orbital beacons in this map like I was talking about. The Golden Seed will spawn this thing as an ally for every teleporter event, as well as the final boss. In order to unlock the False Sun as a playable character, you have to wait for him to steal it from you, and then defeat him again, and then he will help you beat the False Sun. Where's the... Yeah, here it is. Halcyon Seed, that's what... So there's a gold portal here. Where's the green portal? Did it not spawn the green portal? Oh, is it because I didn't go through the... Okay, I didn't go through the, temple, so that's why. I activated the shrine, I just didn't go through it. Okay, never mind. But I will still get the thing that I can use for teleporter events, so that's good. So now I am back to Distant Roost, which was stage 1, except now you can see I'm on stage 6. And as you can see, stronger level enemies are in fact spawning. But the good news about doing a loop is each consecutive time through actually goes by a lot faster because of all of the items that you already have. So, like, you will be physically moving faster, you'll be killing things faster, you'll be able to jump and have more maneuverability. You might have an army of drones that'll just kill everything in the background for you. If you find the missile pod, you can literally just spawn and tap it and then immediately get gold as it seeks out and kills whatever enemies spawn. So, like, it might be called being a loop, but this set through won't take another 57 minutes. It'll probably take, like, 15, I want to say. Maybe a little more. Depends on how, like, distracted I get. But again, this is a game that is incredibly easy to just lose hours into. Oh, here's the Halcyon Shrine Electric 2. Or Halcyon Shrine Electric Boogaloo. I'm getting really fucking lucky in this run, and I've gotten 3 Halcyon Shrines. I've done runs where I haven't seen a single one, and I've done, like, multiple runs in a row where I haven't seen any of them. If you guys watched my first, I think it's the 3rd or 4th stream, actually. No, it is the 3rd, because I remember getting really pissed off. the third stream of this I did was on the PS5 version when I was trying to unlock False Sun on that version. And I was getting really fucking pissed off because I just kept not getting the Halcyon Shrines to spawn. It was really annoying me. So you kind of can't, like, force the unlocks in this game. You kind of just have to keep trying and, like, let them happen, I guess. And if you are thinking that this game can turn into a clusterfuck visually, yes, it can. Risk of Rain Returns is actually worse, though. If you want, well, you can watch my stream of it yesterday to see exactly what I'm talking about, but that game is sprite-based and 2D and, like, super zoomed out for most of it. And even if you zoom in, it still happens a lot where, like, your character will literally disappear from the screen because there are so many things on top of it. And just, like, things exploding and dying and damage numbers everywhere. Yeah. But the good news about this series, at least when you play it on Drizzle like I do, is even when things get super hectic, you're still kicking the absolute shit out of everything. It's mostly about staying moving. Like, most of the time you die, it's because you were staying still in this game. Repositioning and, like, keeping your distance and stuff. There are also melee characters. I don't usually like to play them too often, because flying enemies suck to fight with them. But, you can also play melee. Like, there's, Mercenary uses a katana. There are a couple characters who use, like, their fists and stuff. False Sun uses a mace. He's really fun to play as. Playing as False Sun is basically like playing as Sauron from Lord of the Rings in this game. Especially if you get the right combination of items. Like, there's one item that if you hit a grounded enemy will send them flying into the air, or they'll, like, hover for a while. So you can literally be Sauron and just, like, smack someone with your mace and send them flying. It's really fucking fun. I usually go for question marks over guaranteed items unless I know for a fact it's an item I want. Just because I enjoy the random aspect of Metroidvanias. They're one of my... Or not Metroidvanias, roguelikes. They're one of my favorite, like, aspects of this genre. Is every run is a little different. Like, this run is already going super different to the one I just did at the start of the stream. Which, again, is part of why I think it's a really good streaming game, is you can just turn off your mind, vibe, and, like, every time you play it, it's going to be a little different. I just wish I had people to play it with. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Also, tell me what happened to you and your ex, because I haven't... Oh yeah, have a good night, Kevin John. Sorry, you've probably already left and I just didn't see that message in time. Have a good night, and yeah, I'll tell you what happened later. It's not a fun story, but yeah, I'll let you know. Well, I guess since Kevin-chan is gone, I can just go back to doing whatever I wanted to do. I probably still will attempt Mithrix, though. We'll see. Because this character sucks to use in the Void Fields because you don't get your fucking, Orbital Strike. And in the Void Fields, I feel like that might be a death sentence. Especially since I am looped. Normally, my ideal Void Fields to go into is on stage 2. Because at that point, you've hopefully gotten some items that'll give you healing. You've hopefully gotten some items that'll give you damage, and you've hopefully gotten some items that'll give you traversal options. You might not have all of those, but hopefully you have some combination of them that you'll be able to survive the Void Fields. That's usually what I go for. So, like, a stage 2 Void Fields is ideal. I've even done stage 1 Void Fields, where, like, I find the thing on the first stage and go into it. That one's a little bit more spicy, because you almost assuredly don't have good traversal options, and you probably only have very rudimentary healing and damage. Um, but it's still doable because of the difficulty. Whereas, at this point, the enemies are already going to be challenging when they spawn, and then they're going to be challenging when they spawn in addition to multiple stacks of items. And not having the orbital strikes, which, bear in mind, one of my healing things on this character is an orbital strike, so like I won't have access to my built-in healing. There's also the fact that it's really tight quarters. This character is slow and doesn't have a utility skill that I can use to like hop around a lot faster. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do the void fields for this run. I normally like to, but I'm not convinced I would survive it. Which is a little unfortunate, because I do think Voidling is actually the easiest final boss in this game. The hardest part about Voidling is the black hole. As long as you can avoid the black hole, you'll be fine. Which, like, the black hole is probably the easiest. Yep, here's a try, but I'm not going to do it. The black hole is the easiest one-shot to avoid. Like, it can suck you in, but as long as you, like, recognize that it's happening, you'll be able to avoid it. As long as you're not, like, directly in front of him. The other hard thing about Voidling is his, like, platforming challenges can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's mostly, like, a problem of if you're going too fast and, like, ricocheting off of, like, the platforms, which has happened to me before a lot. But as an actual fight, like, Voidling has, like, 3 attacks. He either will shoot the, like, big puffball of lasers at you, which is really easy to dodge since most of them miss anyway, and barely do any damage. He has the big spinny laser, which you can literally just jump over if you have that option. I guess if you don't have any traversal options, then Voidling might, like, totally kick your teeth in. But as long as you have some, like, rudimentary, like, a double jump or a triple jump, you'll probably be fine with that attack, as long as you, like, actually pay attention and dodge it. And then there's the black hole, which the black hole sucks, but again, if you recognize that it's happening, you can literally just run around. You can literally just position yourself so there's, like, a tree or, like, a small, like, ledge between you and the black hole, and you'll be fine. Like, you can literally use the ground to save you from that attack if you position well. But even if you don't, you can just run away from it. Most of the time, by the time you fight a final boss, your movement speed will be increased to the point you would survive it. I'm not convinced my current move speed is like that, which is part of the reason why I'm not doing it. But, in general, like, Voidling is not a difficult fight. I don't think I've ever actually... Or no, I've lost to one Voidling fight, and it was to the black hole. False Sun, I have lost... What? Fuck, I forgot to go through the green portal. God damn it. Oh well. I am really absent-minded tonight. I'm going to have to remember that there's an item back there to open. I'm probably not going to. It would have been really sad if that killed me, because I thought that it would die to my fucking orbital strike, and it didn't. Also, you guys might have noticed, because I think it's happened, but, the Switch version of this has a really annoying bug where the music stops playing after a while, and it drives me insane. I have my TV turned down, so I can't really hear it either way. I can just hear some of the basic sound effects and, like, the shooting. But given my experience with this game, it probably has kicked in and the audio is broken. Which sucks, because the soundtrack in this game is fucking phenomenal. I already have antlers. I don't really need stun bomb. Yeah. Sorry about the shaking. I was readjusting. Oh, looks like I got a stun grenade anyway. Fair enough. That happens. I don't know actually if Ocular HUD would be good for Captain, or with this build that I'm going for. Well, I'm not really going for a build per se, but the build that I have. Build that I'm going for would imply that I am going for a build, whereas I kind of just let it happen and, you know, go with what I got. Which is probably why I struggle to only play this game on easy and not, like, normal or hard. Because I don't, like, consciously think about what items are best for each character. I just go by vibe. I'm like, oh, hey, this seems fun. Sure, let's do it. I've got some items that, like, if I see them, I will get them every time, pretty much. Unless, like, I really need something else. Like, if I see the fucking, missile tube, I'm going to pick it up, like, every single time. If I see the missile launcher, I'm going to pick it up, like, every single time. If I see the teddy bear, I'm probably going to pick it up every time. If I see the soldier syringe, I'm probably going to pick it up every time. But sometimes that isn't necessarily the best for each character. Like, increasing attack speed sounds good, but for characters who have ammo-related primaries, like the Heretic, it doesn't actually make that big of a difference, because you still have to wait for the ammo to recharge to fire it again. It just speeds up the actual rate of the firing, not the rate of the reloading. Bandit also kind of has that with the shotgun, the 4-pump shotgun. You'll get to fire those 4 shots pretty fast, but you will still have to wait for him to reload the 4 bullets. I believe for this character, it speeds up the rate of the charge wheel. So, like, I guess that would kind of speed up the, like, mash thing, but you still have to wait for the hand to twist and, like, reload. So, again, it's kind of the same deal of where, like, it's technically faster, but in practice, it doesn't really change a whole lot. But I still just pick them up because they're a good item, and I'm used to it. Like, if I ever don't pick a soldier syringe, I feel bad about not picking it up. Oh, here's the one I was telling you about earlier. Do I want to pick this up? How many do I have? I have 2. So it would protect against all damage. Only. Charges after 15 seconds, 10%. Okay, so it's the speed at which it recharges. Moving 10% faster. You know what? No, I'm going to keep my regular teddy bears because I do just prefer them. And honestly, I am hoping to find some more of them. Because they come in real fucking handy for the Mithrix boss fight. Because, like, okay, the attack that kills me the most in the Mithrix boss is the big spinning laser one that I talked about last night. That one kills me a ton, the floor lasers. Like, most of the time I fight him and die, it's to that attack. And the teddy bear is really, really good to prevent you from dying to that, especially if you have a lot of stacks of them, because the corrupted teddy bear will block the first time you get hit by that. But he does it multiple times in a row in alternating directions, so, like, you will still have to try and dodge the follow-ups, unless you only get hit by, like, the last one, which, to be fair, that's entirely possible. But I would still just rather have a high stack of the regular teddy bear and feel content knowing that, like, there's only a 10% chance that if I get hit with this I will die type deal. Because then I'll still, like, be trying to dodge it, but if I do get hit, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the universe. Whereas in the other one, I will still be trying to dodge it, but if I get hit more than once, it is the end. I wonder if this is in the same, like, locale as the, I'm blanking on its name right now. The, base game Area 4 alternate. Or maybe it's Area 3 alternate. Yeah, no, it's the Area 3 alternate, because the Area 4 alternate is the, Roost. The, like, sprite field, or whatever the fuck it's called. The big area with the dishes. The, like, floating dishes. UFO dishes. Not, like, dinner dishes. I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but the trees in this area and, like, the color scheme remind me a lot of that. So I wonder if it's meant to be in, like, the same, like, biome. I'm not getting lucky with my missile tube drops. Is that it? Okay, yeah. Guess that was it. Alright, fair enough. Alright, whoops. I believe that's everything, so I am now going to head to the teleporter. I also already have a thing that blocks the first damage I take, and I don't think they overlap. So, yeah. No, that's my House Knight. I always start attacking it, like, out of instinct, because I think it's a Stone Titan, and then I remember, oh yeah, that's mine. Frame rate's getting stinky. Like I said, once you start looping, you notice it. Like, it gets rough. I can see why people would say this is unplayable at harder difficulties, because I feel like just in the time it takes me to register that something's happening, I would die on, like, Monsoon. Based on how fast I die on, like, Rainstorm. What is this thing? I don't know why that one was glowing weird color, but alright. Probably an elite of some variety, I just don't know what it was. There's another one of them over there. I hate hitting these things with Captain, though. I try to get better about not letting it fully charge and only doing until, like, the circle connects, because I think that's the best way to do it. Because, like, charging it fully turns it into basically a single shot. It still is a shotgun, but, like, for mid-range, I feel like just letting the circle connect is probably better than filling it up all the way. I'm trying to get good about just, like, tapping it when there's something right in front of me. You know, like a shotgun. All of them? It is all of them. real quick. It's reading for an hour and 50 minutes, it looks like. Okay. Oh, this is a fun equipment to give to the equipment drone, because you can just get a drone that will periodically spawn more drones. So that one is actually a good one to throw in. Okay, he's down. Okay. You can see things are starting to, like, ramp up in the difficulty from the spawning and stuff. I have medkits. I have 5 medkits, so I'll get another brooch. So I have 2 of those. I know I should hold on to the star until I find, like, a medium-sized chest or, like, a coded chest. But I also don't like just running past chests and not opening them. So I could have gotten the goat hoof there. The goat hoof is also good, but I already have the antlers, and the antlers are better. So and the antlers aren't really a thing you need multiple of, really. Like, if you get multiple of them, the effect does stack, but you will still notice the effect from just having a single antler. Which, I have 5 antlers, so the antler and the goat hoof and the mocha and all of those, the energy drink and the whip, I believe, are the other ones, do all, like, stack with each other independently, by the way. So, like, you can add goat hoof plus mocha plus antlers for shit, and you will get the movement buff from all of them individually. Which is how you do things like get the challenge for achieving, like, 300% movement speed and stuff like that. Which is not difficult to do. Like, it's not something you really have to go out of your way to do. It's probably just going to happen from you collecting items. I've never had to actually, like, try to unlock that achievement in either this or the PS5. It has just happened. I think it just happened in the PS4 version as well. And yes, I have played a bit of the PS4 version, just not a lot. Because it's kind of exactly the same as the PS5 version, it just takes longer to load, so, like, PS4 version is perfectly fine. Or is perfectly fine, but it doesn't have the motion controls of this, and it doesn't have the loading times of the PS5 version, so it's kind of by default my least favorite way to play it. But it's still a game I really obviously love, so, like, if you have the PS4 version and nothing else, play that. Or have access to it. I don't really know if I could recommend the Switch version. Like, I'm enjoying it, but I also already know that I like this game. And also, it has the motion controls, which I'm used to playing without. So, it's like a good quality of life thing. But I don't know if the motion controls and being able to play it in handheld without, like, frame rate issue, or actually you do have to play with frame rate issues in handheld on Switch. The frame rate issues are actually even worse. Like, the frame rate is like 30 at best in handheld, will often be around 25 for most of your run, and will very quickly devolve into, like, less than 15 for, like, the rest of it and all bosses. It can get really bad in handheld mode. It's really bad right now, to be fair. but it gets worse in handheld mode. So I don't really know if I could recommend the Switch version outright to people. It is a competent port at its best, but as you can see, it's not always at its best. The PS5 version runs really well until you start like doing long loops. Then that one can start to get bad. And also, the only crashes I've had with this game have been on the PS5 version. I haven't had any crashes on the Switch version, but I also haven't really pushed the Switch version because the frame rate gets a little stanky. So it's entirely possible that the Switch version also crashes. The frame rate gets more unplayable before the game crashing makes it so, in my opinion, if that makes sense. So I tried, once the frame rate gets like this, I like, okay, whatever I'm at, I'm gonna try the boss. Whichever boss comes first. But Kevin-chan wanted to see Mithrix, if he ever wants to watch the VOD or whatever, then I think I am going to try and do Mithrix. I'll do False Sun if another House Knight Shrine spawns, but I don't think I'm gonna get lucky enough to get, like, 4 of those in one run. It's my own fault for, fucking up the first time, which led to me fucking up the second time, and then the third time I fucking forgot the shrine was there and just left the stage after saying I was explicitly going to do it. So I think at this point it's on me and not the game. But if I see another house and shrine, I will activate it. I just don't know if I will. Also, this is literally the stage I was just talking about on the last stage. Like the red trees and stuff and the sort of mountainous area. Makes me think that this might be the same biome as the area we were just in. Like, relative to the planet. Obviously, you can't see it anywhere. Also, I feel like I've looped around this dish like 3 times. Probably have. But again, I'm not really like paying too much attention. I'm just kind of just vibing. But I do believe I have found most of the items on this map by now. Yeah. Alright, we'll head to the teleporter, which is up there. Is there a way to get up there? I need a bouncy bounce. Where's the bounce pad? Bounce pad, I need you. There's bounce pad. God damn it! Oh, frame rate's getting stinky. Okay. Yeah. Like, it's about to get even worse as soon as I press this teleporter button. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. That can get bad. I'm literally just mashing the fucking short range, like, shot. Oh, that guy went sent flying, that's funny. This one right here is the Celestial Portal. You can take this to obliterate yourself, which is the, alternate ending where you don't have to fight a final boss. So, like, if I went through this, then the thing I just did would have been the final boss, and then I can just end the run. But that's a little anticlimactic, and I don't really need to. Because the only thing that's really going wrong right now is that the frame rate's kind of shitty. But the actual run so far is fine. Although, Siren's Call here might be a fucky wucky, because I'm going to try and do the secret boss, which might be a mistake. Because it has killed me before. But the free red item is just too good not to try it. I still don't know what these fucking elite monsters with the green bubbles do. Oh, shit. You're dead. Okay, break you. My phone's off. What's going on? People are messaging me. I will respond to them in a second. Okay, fine. I'll respond to one message because he's wanting one right now. Sorry about that. A friend was at the store, wanted to know if I wanted something, but I kind of needed to give him a response, like, right now, so... yeah. Okay, let's see what's in this. Please be something good, please be something good, and it's Weeping Fungus. Okay, I do actually prefer Weeping Fungus to the regular one, because it heals while you're sprinting, and you spend most of your time in this game sprinting. Do I have a wisp? I do not have a wisp. Do I have a wisp? It's not showing up in the item thing. Oh no, I had one up. It's next to the soldier syringe. I just didn't fucking see it. I'm so observant. I really should stop standing around though. That's how I get fucking smacked. And with how late in the game this is, I should not be doing that. It's going to end me the run. Personal shield is good. I really want to find the corrupted missile tube. I can't remember what it's called. The ATG something or other. The corrupted version of that is called the plasma shrimp, and it's really fucking fun. It will fire a bunch of corrupted missiles at whatever you hit every time you hit it. And so you can just, like, do some really fucking crazy shit with it. It's really fun. I'm not finding any, though. To be fair, I only have one regular missile tube as well. So, like, it's not like I have a stack of them that would convert. But it would still be two if I found one, which is still a stack. As a reminder for anyone wondering what I'm doing by shooting the eggs, that is how you spawn the secret boss for this stage. That will drop a red item every time you kill it. It's just a beefier version of the giant mech eyeball enemy. It's got, like, a gimmick to it, where its health will fuel a shield, and then it'll do a big attack, and then its health will go back down. So it's not as easy to kill as the big one, as the regular ones, but it's not, like, a difficult fight, either. But you have to destroy, I believe, 5 of the eggs. It'll say distant whirring, which it just did, and when you see that, the next one you destroy spawns the thing. I just have to find one more egg sac. Well, I mean, they're not really egg sacs, it's just an egg nest. I think egg sac is a different thing, but whatever. Tomato, tomato. I think I'd prefer the volcanic egg to this. The volcanic egg can be fun. You can use it to dodge attacks, which is why I'm grabbing it. Oh, you can also do it to do this. Volcanic egg can be kind of fun. It's not my favorite, but it is one that, if it's an option and I don't have any other good ones on hand or on the stage, then I will pick it. Just because it does have utility. I mean, all of them have utility, but it's like fun utility, which is important to me. That's why I like the missile tube. But yeah, this is the boss, the alloy warship unit. So I have to be careful of where it shoots, because it'll drop, like, damage puddles on the ground. I also have to be careful of the eyeballs it spawns. Okay, here's the shield thing I was talking about. So it's going to charge up a big attack. Or not. It didn't do the attack I was expecting. Okay. Fair enough. Normally, it, like, puts a giant damage puddle on the ground and you have to run out of it, or it'll shoot you up in the air and do a fuckload of damage. Up here it is. Yeah, that. You don't want to be standing in that. Aha, that was fun. Okay. So yep, now we'll have dropped a red item over here. Yep, right here. Symbiotic Scorpion. Permanently reduce armor. Okay, that's pretty good. Red items are the rarest in the game. They are the hardest to normally obtain and usually have the best effects, generally speaking. So this one isn't necessarily super good for Captain because he doesn't attack really quick, and his attacks tend to do a lot of damage anyway. But like, for example, the Commando, this item is fantastic on. Movement speed is getting zippy. Or zappy, as a certain Fire Emblem character would say. Part of me wants to stream Engage because I love the gameplay and cast of Engage, but I really don't like the story. So I would, like, not want to, like, pay attention to the story and, like, fuck around on my phone or, like, talk. Or just, like, skip it outright, but that's not really fair to the game. This is a lot of fucking shit going on right here. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, another Xeno Saga, or not Xenosaga, Xenogears reference in Xenoblade 3 is fucking Alpha, the final boss of Future Redeemed. Alpha is like a 17-layered fucking Xenogears reference. Even like the whole thing of like A and Alvis and Alpha and all that, the like half wing and all that, even that is a Xenogears reference. Like, people who say you can play Xenoblade 3 without playing Xenogears or Xenosaga, fair enough for just base Xenoblade 3. I still think that's the worst way to do it, but fair enough if you feel that way. But as soon as Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed gets brought into the equation, I absolutely think that you should bare minimum play Xenoblade 1 and 2, and for the best experience, play X, Gears, and all of Saga in addition. But that's not... I understand that saying that is asking a lot of people. That's a lot of games that are really long, and at least half of which just aren't accessible, period, to play. So, like, it's a little unrealistic, but I think to get the fullest appreciation of Xenoblade 3 as a piece of art, that is the best way to do it, to understand all of the references and all that. Been streaming for 2 hours and 11 minutes and 9 seconds. But this is the final map, and then we can go to the boss. Oh, there's 2 Void Seeds. Maybe 3. Which is good news for me, because I like Void items. It's bad news for me, because I hate clearing Void Seeds. Void Seeds are like the opposite of Void Cells. You take damage inside of them rather than when you're outside of them. And you have to kill certain enemies that spawn out of them. Full health enemies detonate on hit. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I don't like that it's only full health enemies, because that means that, like, as soon as they detonate, that's it. The item's useless, but sure, fair enough, whatever. Scavengers. Those are the fuckers with the big, backpacks, right? I like those guys. Where do you spawn at? I wouldn't mind killing the fucker, because when you kill them, you can loot their backpack. I'm not seeing him, though. At least with all the debuffs I've got going on, I can actually use the fucking skull item that I was always complaining about. Because that one requires you to have 4 active debuffs on a single enemy, which usually doesn't happen because the enemy will die before you can stack 4 different debuffs on it. But at least for bosses, like right now, like with that eye I just beat, they're not the worst item in the world. I still don't know if I would pick it over something else, but it does have a use case scenario. In fact, I know I wouldn't pick it over something else, because I would literally always choose anything else over it. Okay. 12 more remaining. See, it wouldn't be so bad if Void Cell creatures stayed inside the Void Seed, but it gets annoying when they, like, leave, and sometimes you can't find them because they're like the little wall mollusk ones, which are annoying. I like the Void Seeds because I can get a lot of good items from them, but I don't like the Void Seeds because they can be really annoying trying to find all the enemies. Give me your backpack of goodies. These are my favorite enemies in this game just because of the sheer amount of items you get from killing one. Like, this is crazy. I shot that thing like twice, and I got like 7 items for it. And it was an elite corrupted enemy. They are my best friend. I love scavengers so much. Like, if I knew how to make an emote, I would make a scavenger emote, because they are my, like, I love them. I would have a plushie of a scavenger if they existed. They are probably my favorite enemy next to Gups in this game. I don't know if I like Gups more than I like scavengers, because Gups are adorable. They are big jelly slime friends. I like them. But as like a thing I'm over... If I see a scavenger on a map, I'm ecstatic, because it means I'm about to get a shitload of items. If I see a Gup on the stage, I'm like, okay, well, it's free gold, right? It's like 8 enemies worth of gold to kill, so sure, I'll take it. Walking treasure chest. I love Gups. But it's the difference between a walking, like, gold treasure chest, it's a gold deposit, and, like, 7 items. Like, one scavenger is basically an entire stage worth of items, almost. So, yeah. I love scavengers. Although, unfortunately, each one you kill, like, if you kill multiple in a stage, I think you only get 1 item out of the second one. So you only get the, big item drop the first time. And I'm pretty sure it does reset between stages, but don't quote me on that. But yeah. I like scavengers. They're friends. If why scary enemy, why so friend-shaped? Well, I might not have the missile tube, but at least I have the item that turns any interactable into a missile tube. I love just making children go flying with the shotgun blast. It's really funny. That sounds terrible out of context. But that's what just happened. The enemies are called childs, okay? But they're the ones who give birth. That's weird. I like how I just randomly shot up to like 18k gold when I had like 100. I'm not sure what happened. I assume my turrets or drones killed something. Possibly many things. They are good at that. Because I actually have a fair amount of them now. Okay, there's something over here. Oh, they're up there. Okay. Like, at least it gives you a little hint as to where the things are that you need to kill, but it's still not always immediately apparent, especially because, like, they can spawn in caves and shit, and again, they can leave. Like, this dude's not even in his bubble. Most of the skulls weren't. Stay away from that black hole. That will end my run immediately, because I don't think I have an additional life. Here's the wall mollusk one. There's one more somewhere. Where is it? Shit. Fuck. Where the hell is this fucking mollusk? I'm assuming it's a wall mollusk. Ah, it's right here. That's why I can see you. Oh, didn't want to die. Okay. But now that I have cleared the void seed, I can get all of the void chests. What does this do? I don't know what this does. Oh shit, it's this fucking item. God damn it. Okay, this item sucks. I hate this item. This item will ruin your build, but in the funniest way possible. It upgrades all of your items to the next rarity. But what item you get is random. So, like, if you go multiple stages with this item, you will end up with, like, nothing but red items. Which sounds stupidly overpowered, except it will, like, trade in shit that you need, like movement speed options and, like, damage options. It gets wacky. I have never won a run while I have this item. I have always lost the run. So it's a good thing we're on the final stage, because everything's only going to upgrade once. Which is still going to, like, suck, honestly. It's going to take away a lot of my power. But alright. That's a... Goddammit. Void potential. Void potentials are like void cradles, they're just a little different. Instead of corrupted items, they give regular ones. Look at the squid polyp. Although it doesn't matter because it's about to get turned into something else. Okay. Anything around here? Just a quick see. I just phased through the wall. I don't know if y'all saw that. Okay, let's just head to the final boss. Heading to Mithrix. Frame rate, please. Frame rate, please. I'm taking damage and I don't know what's hitting me. Yeah, like, I genuinely don't know how someone would play this game on the hardest difficulty like this. I have to assume that what was just dealing damage to me would have killed me if I was playing on a harder difficulty. And I don't even know what was dealing damage to me. You can also kind of see with, like, the aiming reticle how, like, the bad frame rate does actually fuck with, like, the speed of the attacks I'm dealing. It's most noticeable with Commando because the amount of bullets you shoot literally decreases. But, like, yeah, it's a little rough. I really wish the PS5 version had the motion controls, because if I did, that would be the easiest recommendation of all time. I really wish it did. And it's so stupid, because, like, Astrobot has motion controls. Like, the DualSense is capable of it. It has the functionality, it's just not implemented in any games. I think it should be. Been streaming for 2 hours and 22 minutes. But we're heading to the final boss. You can see all of my items are changing on the bottom screen there. Oh no, maybe it didn't. Huh. Not seeing too many other red items. Weird. Maybe it doesn't trigger for the commencement stage? I'm not sure. Or maybe it's only a chance to trigger. I thought it triggered every stage transition, but maybe not. So Mithrix did, in fact, kick my teeth in last night while I was playing as Captain. Like, I lost the last run that I did of this game. Last 2 runs, because I lost the, Cool. So that's a waste of an item right there. That item's just gone. Cool. Love it. But yeah, I've lost the last 2 runs of this game that I've done, now that I think about it. One of them has been to Mithrix, the other one was to my own stupidity. But it was not actually the floor laser that killed me last time, though. It was something else. It was one of my own items. It was during the final stage, or final phase of the fight. Um, I had started, like, button mashing, trying to get all of the items back faster, and he hit me with the Electric Nova, actually, the item that just triggered the big explosion one. I was standing too close to it, and it killed me. So he killed me with my own shit, basically. Which is one of the things that makes Smithworks a hard fight. It's... The first phase is, like, piss easy. The second stage is piss easy. The third stage is probably the hardest. And the fourth stage can catch you by surprise if you don't end it, like, immediately. But it's definitely the phase 3 that's the one I struggle with for Mithrix. For sure. I'm probably going to stop streaming after this run, though, just because sitting in this chair is starting to bother my knees a little bit. Which is unfortunately the reason why I can't stream in the first place, if my knee is bothering me. But I should be able to hold up for the rest of this run. We're in the end game, so to speak. Also, my character is such a fucking, like, amalgamation of shit right now. I'm gonna try and use that as the thumbnail. I don't know if I'll be able to or not, though. Well, I mean, the thumbnail for last night, the auto-generated one, was pretty decent. Like, most of the time, I will just go with the default auto-generated one, as long as it's not terrible. Oh, you know what? I don't think I had the fucking mask before. I think the mask is new. So maybe it did trigger, it just didn't trigger for everything. I wonder if they rebalanced it, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, this is going to be a little interesting. So I have to, like, platform over here. There we go. This stage does kind of suck if you don't have, like, easy traversal options. Like, I don't right now. I don't have multiple jumps, and I don't have a utility skill to fling me across the map, so I am stuck kind of platforming here. But I have to be careful because my movement speed is fast. It's just my traversal sucks. So I have to be careful not to, like, send myself careening off edges and shit. Thankfully, I don't have to do any design pillars. I figured out the secret to them. You're supposed to do them by jumping. Because while you're in the air, it doesn't send you flying. So, like, as long as you just, like, small hops, then they're not a pain in the ass too much. But it's annoying to fight shit while also jumping in the air repeatedly. I say while fighting shit and jumping in the air, but you can kind of see that it was a bit of a struggle. These ones aren't too bad. The Pillars of Blood, though, are my favorite, because they just charge immediately. Like, they charge so much faster than the other ones. I guess you could technically die from them if you get swarmed and haven't been killing shit quickly, but, like, that has never happened to me charging a Pillar of Blood, because they always, like, completely charge in, like, 5 seconds, so... But unfortunately, they seem to be the rarest of the pillars. For me, it's usually Mass, then Design, and then Soul, so I'm glad that I don't have to deal with Design. And then Blood is the very bottom one, usually. The Blood ones are over in the dome over there. Or not dome, is it? Pantheon? I'm not sure what the term for that structure is. I wanted to say Colosseum, but it's not a Colosseum. I don't know. Whatever it is. They're usually in there. Anyway, time for this fucker's boss fight. The launch item is actually extremely good for Mithrix, because you can just launch him into the air. You do have to wait for it to recharge, though. I don't have multiple jumps, so I do have to be careful about timing the, jump wave. Also, did he just destroy my thing? I didn't even know he could do that. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So now phase 2, which again is fairly easy. Phase 2 is not normally a problem for me. Phase 2 is like one of the easiest fights in this entire game, to be real. It's literally just regular enemies, like they're not even boss enemies. It's not a problem. They don't even spawn in as elites, which I think is funny. They're literally just, like, runt enemies that he just calls to be like, hey, deal with this fucker. Like, alright. They're not even the unique gilded worms from, like, Risk of Rain Returns, or 1. That's literally just, like, his default fucking biome enemies like, hey, come get your paycheck. Yeah, but now we have the actual difficult part of the fight. This one does fuck me up a lot. Because I have to be careful not only of his, like, actual spin attack as captain, but I also have to be careful of his regular melee attacks, just because I don't have the traversal, like, utility skill to quickly get out of the way of it, so I have to, like, try and keep my distance. Ooh, that was close. I mean, I guess I have my X button. I can press that to quickly, like, go invulnerable, but I'm planning on saving that for when he does the spinny. Although, it looks like I won't need to. Alright, that works. Sure. So he's going to steal all of my shit, and I can't do anything about that. Until now. So now my goal is to start dealing as much damage as possible to him quickly in order to get the shit back. That was very fast. Okay. I'm not sure what killed him there, to be completely honest. I think it might have been the Helsh Knight, but it looked like he was still spawning, so I'm not sure. But alright, that phase 4 went by quick. To be fair, it normally does. In my experience, phase 4, I've only lost to phase 4 through my own items, like the Nova explosion that killed me. I've never actually had him kill me. There's a Void Reaver, or whatever they're called. The Joy-Con has in fact turned into a Hitachi magic wand. And it's just gonna be vibrating like that the entire fucking time until this thing is fully charged up and ready to go. Alright. And now for the actual real final boss, the hardest defense map of them all. I'm joking, this thing is a breeze. Like, If you're ever at this point, you've probably already won. I think the only thing that could reasonably kill you at this point is, like, getting caught in one of those, like, black holes, probably. Like, as long as you don't leave the circle, you'll probably be fine. I guess maybe if you don't make it here in time, you could time out, but, like, it charges so fast that even not sprinting over like I was doing, I think I'm still fine. Oh, I should have tried to smush, I should have tried to get the smush. Captain has a secret unlock that you get by killing Mithrix by calling down one of his beacons onto his head. I should have tried to do that, but he died before I even realized what was happening. Alright, and that is another successful run of Rescue Raid 2 done. I think this is only like my third or fourth successful run on the Switch version, actually. I'm not sure how many ones I've won on stream, but I think it's only been a couple. Into the black hole. Blooped, just like you used to do to the Gilded Worms. Like, I can't blame Providence for thinking his brother is an ass. His brother is an ass. You deserve to be locked on that moon. Alright, let's see what my... Why did it pause instead of... I'm confused. Oh, I don't think the credits had fully loaded yet. Okay, Monster Lock Helshenite, that's kind of neat. Let's see. 1,427 kills, 208 kills for minions, 0 deaths, lots of damage. Highest level 27, items collected 283, 11 stages completed, and 152 purchases. Not bad. That was a pretty fun run. But yeah. Like I said, this game is a really good game to just stream and, like, ramble to. You don't really have to pay too much attention. So, as for future stream plans, I'm going to be resuming my Xenoblade 3 streams. I am not sure how long that's going to take, though, because I have to get back to where it was. I'm pretty sure where it was right before I unlocked Chain Attacks. So I'm going to get to around that area. I also want to do a stream of Knights of the Old Republic, but I don't know if I want to do a full series stream of it, or just be like, hey, this game is really cool, here's an example, y'all should play it, as like a one-off. The problem is, I'm really bad at Knights of the Old Republic, and every time I've beat it, I've had to use cheats. So, like, if I play it, y'all are gonna have to get okay with some cheating real quick. So I might, as far as PS4 streaming, or PS5 streaming goes, I am debating playing, The Sims on stream, but I don't know if I want to, because I've had so much weird shit go on in The Sims that I'm a little worried about streaming that. Let's see, what else do I want to stream? I mean, I obviously want to start a new stream of Xenoblade 1, but I'm not sure if I should do that before or after continuing my Xenoblade 3 streams. I also don't know if I want to do a full game of that or not. The Night Ring beta is downloading on, or will be. I don't know if it started already, but I got my invite code for that. So I am going to be streaming that at least once. I have not played, I mean, I have played, but it was like for 5 minutes and I decided I didn't care. Of the new beta, the reason why I don't care is because the weapon changes haven't been implemented. But I do plan on streaming Monster Hunter Wilds when that comes out. I'm going to be streaming at least some of Xenoblade XDE, probably not the whole game. In fact, definitely not the whole game, because I want to be able to see the new content and not, like, take months and get spoiled on it. But don't be surprised if I do, like, a one-off stream of that at some point. I might stream some Bleach Rebirth of Soul story mode, because I love Bleach and I don't get to talk about that very often. So don't be surprised if I stream that as well. But yeah, that is all from me for today. Thank you all for watching, and I had a good time. See you guys later. Bye.